Wow. Oh, man, look at that. Wow. Guys, this is how we are going through life. I don't know if you know this or not, but there is no reality. There is only reference, your frame of reference, aka your framework. Let me ask you a question. Are you are you happy this morning? Are you, man, are you sad this morning? Are you low this morning? Are you high and excited this morning? Well, the truth is, while it may feel real to you, and in many ways it is real, but in the context of what we're talking about today, and I'm so excited to share with you that it's not as real as we may think it is, or at least the way that we define what's real. I hear people all the time saying, man, I keep it real. I keep it 100. And you do. You keep it 100% of your reference. I keep it real. I'm keeping it real out here in the streets. And you are. You're keeping it real. Real within your framework. See, the truth is, guys, and you've heard this before, is the glass half full or is it half empty? You ask 10 people, what do you get, right? You're going to get 10 different answers. Well, why is that? Why is it that we can take the same object, the same thing, and yet get 10 different answers from 10 different people? How is it that we can go through life and look at a situation in life and I feel one type of way about it and you feel a totally different way about it? Well, the truth is there's no reality in the way that we're used to defining reality. There is only reference, your frame of reference, your framework. Guys, welcome to the I Am the Possible universe, the I Am the Possible broadcast. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about this thing called framework. That's right. Framework, your frame of reference. We're going to be talking about why it's so important to understand framework, why it's so important to understand that what we know as reality really isn't, always reality or true in that context, but it's really it's really framed out of our own personal reference. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my intro. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off some of this sweat because it's a hot day in Southern Cal, and I'm going to be right back right after this. All right, guys, listen, today we are talking about framework. And I don't know if you are familiar with the concept and the idea of framework, but it is extremely important. It's extremely important to understand. It's extremely important to understand where it comes from, how it's developed, and most importantly, how it's changed, right? Today, I want to kind of take my time. I want to share with you a few of my thoughts and ideas and concepts. But before I get into any of that, guys, I want to personally welcome you into the I Am the Possible universe, specifically right now, the I Am the Possible broadcast. And you know that we also got the podcast jumping off later on today. I'll be releasing a new episode today around this same topic. But today, I want to begin a series, guys, this month, all month long. I'm going to stay on one topic, and I'm going to begin a 4-part series. Each Saturday this month, I'm going to do a different part. Today is going to be part 1 of what I'm calling There Is No Reality. There is no real in the sense that we understand real. And I'm going to be getting to the point in just a moment. But today, if I had to give today's part 1 its own subtitle, I'm going to call it the framework of faith. The framework of faith. Now, I didn't put any more show notes in the actual broadcast here. I'm just going to be speaking from my phone because I really want to be present and I really want to just have a conversation this morning, right? So if you are joining me, let me also say, guys, whether you are live or on the replay, guys, your presence is the greatest present that any of you guys could ever give me. So welcome again into today's live broadcast. Let me again remind you, and if this is your first time joining me, or if it's your first time in a very long time, as we say in church, then I want to let you know what the intention of this broadcast is, what the intention of this entire universe is, and that is to help individuals to revive their hope for what's possible. That's right. I want to help you to revive your hope for what's possible. And how do I accomplish this? I accomplish this in two very distinct ways. Number one, sharing ideas that promote what's possible in your life, right? Everything begins with an idea, a spark of imagination. Everything takes off. Everything is ignited through an idea. Or I'm going to be sharing with you ideas that prevent what's possible, because it's good for you to understand what promotes or produces your possibilities. And it's very important for you to also be aware of and understand what may be preventing what's possible in your life. And I just believe that there's someone out there today who's unaware of this concept called framework. And there may be things in your life that let me put it this way, they're possible for you, but you don't believe that they're possible because of your framework. I'll say that again. I believe that there are people out there, you may be watching right now, there are people out there that there is something that is possible for you, but you don't believe that it's possible because of your framework. And so today I'm going to be focusing on framework. Maybe that's a whole nother title right there, right? Focusing on framework. But this week, as you join me, I'm going to be calling today's part one, the framework of faith, the framework of faith. We just celebrated Good Friday. And if you listen to my podcast this week, you're going to hear me mention Good Friday. So shout out to all of my Christian brothers and sisters, the people of faith, the people who love Jesus, those who are looking to him and celebrating on tomorrow this thing that we call Easter. And we are going to be celebrating the risen Savior. And so today, I really am inspired to share my framework of faith, right? There is nothing, the only thing that I can do, right? And I'm beginning to really tune into this and really understand this, that if I'm going to work with people, minister to people, help people, assist people, work with people, all that I can do is offer you my framework. That's all that I can offer you. That's all that you can offer me, right? All that we can do is give you our experiences, our lessons learned, what's worked for us. And, for some, my framework will work for you. For some, my framework won't work for you. And that's okay, right? Because I'm not made and created to serve everybody, and everyone's not made and created to serve me. And that's what's beautiful about this world. There's billions of people on this planet. There's billions of people, look at that right there. There's billions of people across the face of the earth. And someone needs the message that I have, and someone needs the framework, right? The framework that I'm working in. Okay. And we're going to be getting to this in just a moment. So guys, I'm going to be answering over the course of the next couple of weeks some of these questions. What is framework? Let me just look at my phone here. Just got some notes here. What is framework? Why is framework so important, right? What part does framework play, right? What part does it play in producing or preventing what's possible in your life? And most importantly, right, how do we fix the frame? How do we fix it if our picture, right? Think about this. You see my ordination frame right there, guys. April is my favorite month, right? I don't want to get too sidetracked, but April, shout out to April. April is my favorite month. Why? Because it's my birthday in a few days, a few weeks, right? I'm going to be celebrating my birthday. Also in April is my ordination, right? April 11th. So I'll be, celebrating that as well. So April is a great month. We got Easter in April. So April is the bomb. Shout out to April. Hashtag April is awesome. Hashtag April is awesome, guys. But going back to this framework, guys. I'm so convinced, I'm so convicted, I'm so excited to share and really take my time to unpack this thing called framework, to really unpack this thing for us, right? Even for myself, for you, because a frame, right? Just like a picture frame, right? And that's a better example of it, right? A frame holds, it contains only so much information. Think about this, even though as I'm holding up this frame, right, just as an illustration. Think about that frame back there. There's that thick white border. Can you see that thick white border right there? Now, just imagine with me for a moment. Just imagine that on my certificate that's within the frame, right? Trying to get all this in there. Imagine within that certificate, right? I scribbled some words on the outer border of my certificate. Let's just pretend like I just wrote some words on it, right? Maybe some numbers on it, right? Now I put the certificate inside the frame. I put it inside the frame. Now that I've put it inside this frame that has this thick white border, when you look at the picture, when you look at this frame, all you can see is what's revealed within the frame. The other words that I wrote, they exist. They're present. They're there, but you can't perceive them. You don't see them. You don't recognize them, and you can't call them out. In other words, you don't have access to leverage that information. Imagine this. Imagine I wrote on the borders of my certificate the secret code, I don't know, to a security box at a bank, right? That's holding like a precious diamond worth $1 million, right? The diamond is worth a cool meal, baby. And if you just saw the code, you could go down to the bank today and say, hey, I like access to that security box. And the guy said, well, you got to give me the code first. And you provide the code and you get access to that diamond, and boom, you are a millionaire, right? Who wants to be a millionaire, right? You are a millionaire today. Well, you can't get to the code because it's not within the framework. It exists. It's there. It's present, but it's not within the frame. And the same is true of our lives. This is one analogy that I'm going to use today, right? It exists. It's there, but you can't access it because you can't see it, right? All that is as we see it. All that is as we see it. It's how we define it. It's how we are able to perceive it and see what's within the frame. So it's there, but you can't see it. The same is true in our personal lives, guys. There are things that exist in our world. There's things that exist in life, but we can't access it because it's not within our framework. That's why I said there is no reality. There's only reference, your frame of reference, aka your framework. So what is framework? And you can probably already begin to tell why it's so important, because framework will either let some things into your life or it will keep some things out of your life. Now, by definition, guys, this is what framework is. Framework is a particular set of rules, ideas, beliefs, which you and I use in order to deal with problems and decide what to do. I'll say that again, guys. Here's what framework is, and this is why it's so important. Our framework, it is comprised of, made up of a particular set of rules, ideas, and beliefs, which you and I use in order to deal with our problems and to make our decisions. Guys, if life is nothing else but problems and decisions, I mean, what else is it, right? Every day we wake up and we're faced with problems. Every day we wake up and we're faced with decisions. We make decisions subconsciously. Like we are constantly making decisions. I'm making a decision even now by moving my hands back and forth. I'm not thinking about it, but I'm making a decision. Every decision is coming and being made and is highly influenced by our framework. It is a set of rules that we live by, whether we know those rules or not. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this information today, because many of us are operating, we're living our lives, right? We're preventing what's possible for us because we are so framed in. We're so locked in. These corners have locks. We're so locked in to our frame, these rules, these beliefs, these ideas about ourselves, about other people, about God, about the way that the world works. We're so locked into our frame that we're not able to see what's on the border. We're not able to see outside of it, guys. It's amazing how limited we think we are because we can only see so far. I pray that this is making sense to you guys. So guys, let me start to jump into this. The reason I was inspired to talk about the framework of faith is because I'm a person, I don't know about you, but I'm a person, I read a lot of books, as you can see. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, audio books. I mean, I'm a life learner. I love to learn. And I listen to a lot of what we would consider the gurus of our day, the thought leaders of our day, the experts of our day. And I'm not poo-pooing. Yep, I like that word, poo-pooing. I'm not poo-pooing on these experts, these gurus, these thought leaders. I ain't got a problem with them. What I have a problem with, what I have a challenge with, and what inspired me today to talk about my framework, which is a framework of faith. What inspired me is that I'm listening to a lot of what's going on in our society when it comes to the thought leader, the guru, the expert. I'm listening to this idea, and this isn't an idea that's being shared. It's an idea. How do I put it? I used to, my wife and I, we have this understanding, right? This thing called the word under the word, the word under the word. And really what it's talking about is I may say something to you verbally. I may say something. I may articulate something to you verbally, but there is a word underneath that word. There is a message underneath what I say. And what I've been hearing, right? I've been hearing underneath these introductions or these teachings and lessons. What I've been hearing is we are the masters of all things. We determine everything. We control everything. We're the it. If you want to go high, you make it happen. If you want to make $1 million, you make it happen. If you want a better life, you make it happen. If you want riches and fame, you make it happen. If you want a better life, you, right? If you want a spouse, you do it. If you want a new car, you do it. If you want a booming ministry, you do it. I don't know. You name it, right? Whatever it is for you, you name it, you frame it. When I'm beginning to hear the sound of this sensationalism, this egotistical framework that society is kind of working within, is the idea that we do everything. Everything's dependent on us, and we are the source of our destiny. We're the source of our own strength, right? We have to dig deep. We have to make decisions, right? I'm trying to think of some examples, but all in all, I'm beginning to see how we start to think that we're the one. That may work for you. And if it does, you can cut me off right now. But my framework doesn't accept that. That idea that I'm my own God, I'm my own king, I'm my own ruler. I get where people are coming from. We have to own some stuff. I tell my boys all the time, man, own it. Right? Because you can't change what you don't own, right? If I own this house that we're in, I can change the color. But if I'm renting it, then I can't change the color. If I own it, I can knock a wall down, build a new, room. If I'm renting it, I can't knock a wall down. So I always tell my boys, own your stuff, because what you own, you can change, right? But in this context, I'm not going to own the fact that I am my greatest source. I am my everything, right? But I'm starting to hear this concept that we don't need God. We don't need a Jesus. We don't need a savior. We don't need a spirit of God. We don't need a church. We don't need this. We don't need that. All we got to do is sit off somewhere and think ourselves rich, think ourselves great, think ourselves awesome. I get where they're coming from, but I'm starting to hear and sense something underneath. I'm starting to hear the currents, right, of self-dependency. And I write about it in my book. Self-dependency will drain you like a battery. Self-dependency, you depend on you. It's only a matter of time before you hit that wall, right? There's only a matter of time before you hit that wall, guys. If you are dependent on you and your own strength, your own power, your own might, it's all about you, and you got to make it happen, and you got to do it. And there is no other thing. There is no other God. There is no other help in the universe. It's all about you and your thinking and your conscious and subconscious, and everything is about you. There's only a matter of time. And what I began to think about as I began to listen to some of these guys this week, man, it really hit me. Like, I wonder how many people who are listening, because these guys are getting millions of views, like millions of views, millions of followers, right? And again, I'm not hating on these guys, but I do wonder to myself, I do think to myself, how many people who are listening and watching and following these people verbatim and to the letter, I just want to know the results that they're getting. I just want to know the results, right? You got a million views, you got a million people that follow you to the T, that are dependent on themselves and taking the bull by the horn. I just want to do a survey. I would just love to know how many people are getting the results that are being shown on the screen. Because that's not what we talk about. We have a little testimonial here, a testimonial there. Yeah. I get it. But in my framework, guys, my framework is one of faith. And so I just wanted to address this week. I just wanted to share how my life has changed because of this framework of faith. I just want to share with you the things that I've experienced, and perhaps it may inspire, perhaps it may edify, perhaps it may help, perhaps it may mean something to you as well, because you may be someone that's dependent on your own strength. You may be someone who has a framework of me, right? I once heard, if it's going to be, then it's up to me. If it's going to be, then it's up to me. And I just think to myself, man, how devastating a framework that is. If it's going to be, then it's up to me. That means that you're not going to let anyone else in. You're not going to you're not going to allow God to help you. You're not going to look to anything or anyone else. It's just going to be up to you, guys. So let me just share some of these with you guys. I wrote down the fact that as I was considering today's broadcast and this framework of faith, every major move in my life has been the result of prayer. Every major move in my life has been the result of prayer. And I've come a long way, right? Many of you guys have heard my laundry list of who I was before and the things that I was doing. But if you haven't, let me just give you a few of them, just a few of them, right? I was the guy who, addicted to pornography. I was the guy addicted to marijuana, opium, alcohol. I was the guy that would rob you at gunpoint. I was the guy that would rob your house blind. I was the guy that would break into your business. I was the guy that would betray his own friends, right? I was the guy that would lie to your face. I was the guy that I mean, I'm thinking of, what I didn't do, right? It's like robbery. Yep, I did it. Lie, thief, steal. I did it. Drug sales. I did it. I mean, if you could name it, I probably did it. If you could name it, I probably did it. Like there's very few things that I didn't do. And there was very few things that didn't happen to me, right? That didn't happen to me, right? You guys know how I grew up being overweight and being picked on and isolated. You guys know that by the age of 7 or 8, right, I began to stutter and I was picked on for that and bullied for that, right? You guys know that I was molested multiple times, right, by total strangers and family members. You guys know of having the gun put to my head, right? And all the guy wanted was $120 bag of weed, and I told him no 3 times, and he pulled the trigger, right? Thank God nothing came out. I mean, I'm just trying to recall the damaging experiences that I've had, both things done to me and the things that I did, right? I've had things that were done to me that are unspeakable. I've done things that I still can't share on air. That's where I came from. See, that's what built my framework. It was those experiences and those emotions and those things that I didn't deal with, right? Because those are things that get put into your frame, right? That's how your framework is built. It's through the experiences, it's through the exposure, it's through the things that you've gone through and the things that have gone through you. The things that you've gone through and the things that have gone through you, they shape your framework. And so it's no wonder that people don't believe in themselves. It's no wonder that people have a very devastating framework. It's no mystery that people are self-sabotaging, right? Well, it's no mystery that people don't believe in what's possible for them, because just like me, I came from a background of just damaging event after damaging event. Everything was telling me I was worthless. Everything was telling me I didn't matter. Everything was telling me that my life, had no value, had no worth. I mean, everything, all of the evidence, everything was telling me, Travell, you don't matter. That's why when homeboy put the gun in my head, I'm like, pull the trigger, man. Do what you got to do. Because my framework at that time was my life didn't matter anyway. I'm a throwaway, right? I didn't grow up with my father. Shout out to my father, by the way. If you're watching this, I have a great relationship with my father today by God's grace. But back then, I wasn't raised by my father. My mother, drugs and alcohol, until later on in life when she got saved and she came into the church, right? So my formative years, guys, my formative framework, right? Many of us that's where our framework come from. Those formative years, man, our formative years, right? When I was being touched and molested, formative years, right? When I was being picked on and bullied because of things that, I couldn't control, I didn't make myself stutter, right? 7 years of age, you don't know anything about body mechanics and eating too much or whatever. I don't know why my body blew up, right? I don't know, right? These are things that as a child, you're not in control of. Your brain hasn't even formed, enough, right? You're not even conscious enough to be making decisions, right? So things are just happening. And things are just happening to you, and you're just absorbing it like a sponge. And over time, all of that stuff becomes evidence, in which you now take that evidence, just like a case. You take the evidence, you're collecting data, you're collecting the evidence, and that evidence and those experiences and those undealt with emotions, they become your framework. And then later on in life, when you want to achieve great things, right? When you grow up a little bit and you want to do something great with your life, well, you still got this formative year framework. Am I preaching to somebody? Am I talking to somebody? I wasn't prepared to go down this road, but somebody needs to hear it. This is how framework is made. This is how you build your frame. Over time, frameworks are built over time, and you are not conscious to it. It's happening. It's developing over time. And it becomes the lens in which you view life. It becomes the borders, right? It becomes the borders, right? Now, I'm not going to get into politics and everything like that, but just as an example, I mean, we're dealing with the border issue out here in California, right? Maybe you've watched the news, maybe you've seen some stuff on television, and we're dealing with the border issue, right? Certain people can't cross the border. Well, they're trying to hold you out from coming in to something great. They're trying to hold you out from coming into something new. Saying that's framework. It's the same thing, man. That's why I said I'm gonna take this whole month and talk about framework and take my time with it, Because framework is vital to understand. There are some things in your life that are being kept out because of your framework, because you got borders. These are borders. They keep things out and they keep things in. Am I preaching to somebody? Am I speaking to somebody? There are things in your life, you name them, you frame them, what is for you, that you really wish you could do blank. You really wish you could be the person that does blank. You really wish you could feel blank. You really wish you could experience blank, but you keep coming up short. You try, but then something pulls you back. You try, and then something says, no, that's not you. You try, and then something says, no, you can't do that. I've had that going on this week myself. And I'll be sharing next week about the power of partnership as it pertains to framework, right? Just as a sneak peek. You guys ever wonder why people can give you advice? You ever think about that? You down in the mud. Like I've been down in the mud these past couple of weeks. I've had some challenging weeks, guys. People reach out to me, how you doing, man? I'm down in the mud right now. Right. I'm scrapping. Right. We want to revive your hope for what's possible. I needed my hope for what's possible to be revived this past week. Right. And so it helped me to, appreciate the power of partnership, people in your life that can speak life to you. Right. But why is it that people can speak life? Why is it that people can give you advice or give you a different perspective? It's because they have a different framework. Anyway, that's a preview. That's next week. We're going to be talking about that next week. But this week, the framework of faith, guys. And so I hope by now you get the picture of what framework is, how it's developed. And now, even the third question, why is it so important to the production or the preventing of what's possible in your life? I hope that you're starting to get a sense of it, guys. I'm just freestyling today. I don't have any PowerPoints. I don't have all of that. I want to talk to you. I want to have more conversations. I want to freestyle. Whatever comes out, comes out. If you ain't feeling me, cut me off. If you ain't rocking with me, keep rolling. If you are with me, praise God and thank God for you. But I just want to flow with it, man. I want to have more conversations. I find that my life has changed through conversations. It ain't changed through performances. My life has been changed through conversations, not performances, by someone in my life being present, right? I talked about my former framework, the lie, the cheat, or the liar, the cheater. Those were my two, right? Just the thief, right? The violent vandalizer, vandal, someone who just tear up stuff, right? Anyway, going down that path, guys, but I was not the person that I am today because I was working out of a different framework, right? I don't know why I can't recall a lot of those things, man. Maybe my framework has changed so much. I mean, I can remember the stuff I did, but I don't know why it's difficult this morning for me to like articulate and really think about some of those things, man. But I don't know. Maybe my framework has changed so much that it's even hard for me to see who I was. I mean, I know it, it's like it's in there, but anyway, maybe that's something I have to deal with later on. Maybe I am changing that much, and maybe it's time for you to change that much, to become something so different than what you once were that it's hard for you to even go back to that. Anyway, guys, my framework of faith, everything that has radically improved my life, every radical movement in my life, every radical improvement in my life has been the result of prayer or faith, right? This framework of faith. And I want to share a few of them. I've got 7, right? I may get through all of them, or I may have to cut it short and pick up next week. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to share just a few of them. My first one, guys. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Shout out to my Chi-town folk, but I was born in the Chi. And around age 6 or 7, my family and I moved to Toledo, Ohio. And I'm not going to go through all of my formative years and all of that, but in Toledo, Ohio, as I got a little older and I started to get into all of this crazy trouble, I have my current day pastor today, my senior pastor. Shout out to Pastor Kerwin L. Manning, Kerwin Lamone Manning, my pastor, my cousin, my family. There was a church, or there is a church there in Toledo called First Church of God, and my journey, my transformation journey, my framework journey began. My framework of faith began before I said my first prayer, before I stepped foot in the church. It started before I knew who God was, who Jesus was, right? I was out in the street doing my thing, man. And I only know this because Pastor Kerwin told me and, brought me up on game once I gave my life to Christ and started serving in the church. But at, First Church of God, they have this huge prayer tower, huge prayer tower. And every day at noon, the saints of God, people of God, they go up to the tower and they pray. And they probably pray on a whole bunch of different topics. But during the time that I was out running the streets, Pastor Kerwin and a bunch of the saints there, he would bring my name up to them and say, "Hey, man, my cousin's out in the streets. He's doing crazy stuff. He off the hook. Let's pray for my cousin. Let's pray for my cousin." And they would pray for me. And they would pray for me. And I don't know how long they prayed for me. I don't know how many times they prayed for me. But he shared with me that they would take my name before God, before I knew anything about the church, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, walking with him, any of these things. I'm out in the street doing my thing, but they were praying for me. They were praying for me. And that is not only my first story, but that's one of the reasons why I am so fortified in my faith, because I understand that it's not through my own power, it's not through my own strength, it's not through my wisdom, it's not through my great understanding, it's not because I'm such a great, perfect guy, it's not because I'm so disciplined, right? People compliment you, and if you let it get to you, you would really start feeling yourself and really start thinking that you the one and that you got it going on. And I get it. I mean, I specialize in self-worth, right? So I'm the last one to tell you that you're not great. I'm the last one to find, fault with you. But there is a healthy respect for the fact that God is my all in all. God is my all in all. It's Jesus or nothing. If you listen to my podcast this week, I entitled that one, "The Framework of Faith. Everything else is BS." That's this week's that's this week's podcast. The framework of faith. Everything else is BS. And you know what BS stands for. And I ain't going to say the words because that ain't for me to say. But you know what I mean by it. It's BS. That's my framework. My framework is that. My framework is Jesus and everything else is BS. Now, I get everything that we utilize, right? Meditation and rituals and, subconscious work and conscious work and disciplines and working out and training. And I do all of it. I get down with all of it. I do all of it, man. Right. I put in the time. I put in the work, hard work, dedication, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I do all of the self work. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Jesus. So if I had to pick one, I'll pick him. If I had to choose, I'll pick God. That's it. At the end of the day, my framework is faith. My framework is faith. Faith in a God that is greater than I, one that I am in and one that is in me. But there is a healthy respect that I'm not the one doing this. I'm not the one orchestrating this. He is the source of my life, my strength, my everything. So if there is wisdom about me, it's because God gave it to me. If there's strength about me, it's because God gave it to me. If I'm doing something great on this camera, it's because God's doing it through me. If there's anything great in the books that I write, it's because God gave me the talent. If there's anything that you find good about me, you better give that credit to God. Don't give that credit to me. I don't want it, man. I don't want it. Today is a new day for me, man. It is Jesus. Everything else is BS. And so my framework is faith. So let me go on to the second one. Salvation, guys. Many of you have heard the story, or if you've read my book, right? I forgot how old I was. I was like 23, 24. I had just robbed a bistro, a 5-star bistro is where I was working part-time. I was an employee and I robbed them, man. I told you I was a thief. Like, I was bold enough to rob the place that I worked at. Right? Oh, but there's a testimony. You better believe that. But I ain't gonna share the whole testimony because I'll take up the whole rest of my time today. But I robbed them, man. I did it. I was guilty of sin. I did it. I robbed them. And I got caught. Yeah, I wasn't a good thief. Right? I did it. I got caught. So I'm in jail. I'm in county jail. And I'm waiting to see the judge, on Monday. And it's the weekend, right? So I'm doing my thing, man. I'm sitting in the cell. Sunday morning they come bringing that old lousy breakfast. I don't want that mess. Just give me the orange juice. Shout out to all of my brothers and sisters who've been locked up. Y'all know what that breakfast is like. Y'all know what their meals are like on the little nasty wet trays. So listen, man, pray for your brothers that's on the lockdown. Pray for your sisters that are on the lockdown. Pray for them, man, because life ain't good in there, right? But come bring me the little nasty breakfast, give me the orange juice, man, keep the rest. And the sheriff comes by and he says, yo, and I don't remember exactly what he said. But he says, yo, anybody who wants to get up out this jail cell, we got a Sunday morning service. It's like an hour. Y'all go down there, listen to the word, get your God on, right? All right, man, I'm out. I just want to get up out this 6x9, dude. Right? I'm tired of staring at these walls. Go down to this room. A few women from the local church tell us a story about this man named Jesus. And I cannot remember what they said. I don't remember what they said, but I do remember the essence of the message. And the essence of the message was, I'm accepted. Being the thief, I'm accepted. Watching and being addicted to the pornography, I'm accepted. Selling the drugs, using the drugs, I'm accepted. Robbing my friends, breaking into homes, tearing up buildings, breaking into buildings, and the things that were going through my mind, holding people at gunpoint, robbing people at gunpoint. So many times, if I just pulled the trigger, so many times, if I just made a mistake, people would have lost their lives. I was that dude. That'll run up on you like that. I was that dude running with them cats, right? I was running with killers that was on that, like on some real, right? With all of that, with all of my scars from my parents not being around, all of my scars from being molested, all of my scars from being picked on and bullied in high school not high school, but middle school, elementary, being picked on, right? Being made fun of, being isolated, right? Being made to feel like nothing. With all of my scars, man, with all of my scars, with all of my junk, with all of my hangups and failures and everything else. Dropping out of college, by the way, dropped out of college, had a full ride, dropped out, told them no, I'd rather smoke weed. Right. Started getting off into the Ouija board. Right. I don't know if y'all know about that Ouija board, but I was starting to get off into that Ouija board. Right. It was some craziness, man. I'm telling you. Right. I was on one. I was on one for real. Right. And so he said, listen, I accept you. I accept you. The essence of the story about Jesus was, I love you. I accept you. I appreciate you. And so at that moment, they said, listen, man, anybody who want this life. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing was not headed in the right direction. I would soon either be locked up for 15 years. I was facing 15 years for the charges. So I was going to either be locked up for like 7 or 8, right, with some good behavior, whatever. I had a baby on the way, right? And so I was going to miss half of his life. And so I was just at a crossroad, man. And so I just heard that story and I felt like, oh, yo, I'm accepted by somebody. I ain't got to do nothing special. I'm just me. He'll take me like I am. Let's roll. Let's do something. Let's do something. So I accepted Jesus, man, in county jail. I accepted Christ, man. And he accepted me. And, when I got out, I still, tried to smoke weed. And I remember telling my wife today, my girlfriend then, Andrea, babe, something ain't right, something different. Like I was still smoking, because when you give your life to Christ, it's not like, well, I mean, sometimes it's just miraculous, right? For some, but for me, it was like a gradual change. And so, you go back to the hood, you still trying to smoke weed, but now there's a conviction. And I hadn't even learned about like 10 Commandments, sin, Old Testament, New Testament. I ain't learned nothing. All I knew was when I got out of jail, and shout out to the bistro owner, John Wesley. He just made it so that if I pay back the money, for those of you who just want to hear the end of that story, I got out of jail because the owner of the bistro, he just had love for me. I don't know. God touched his heart, man. And he just made me a deal. He made a deal with my lawyer. He said, if Travell pays back the money, then we will expunge his record, and we will make it so that he does not have a felony on his record. And if he just pays me back the money, I'll drop all charges. So I got out, hustled the money, got a couple of jobs, hustled back the money, paid them back, squared my debts, and we were good. So I don't have a record. Praise God. Because that one mistake, that felony, I don't know if I would be able to earn the money that I earned today and be working where I'm working today and have the things that I have today had I had that mark on my record. But that's a whole nother story. So anyway, guys, just wanted to finish that story because I've had a habit in the past of starting stories and not finishing them. So my record was expunged, and I don't have a felony to this day. So, but I got out and I started, trying to smoke weed again, right? And trying to smoke weed again, it was a conviction inside of me. It was a conviction inside of me, like, man, something ain't right. And I hadn't learned all of the, your sin and blah, blah, blah. And, you grieve the Holy Spirit and all of that. I ain't learned none of that stuff. So that's why, story number 2, that's why it is Jesus and everything else is BS, because he's the one that came into my life and radically changed it. That's why he's my framework. That's why I have a framework of faith, because if I know nothing else, and there is more that I don't know than I do know, but if there's one thing that I do know, is that Jesus changed my life. Period. Now, I started off by saying there is no reality, right? I started off with there is no reality, only reference, your frame of reference, aka your framework. Well, that's the reference. I'm referencing the internal transformation when I received Christ into my life. And I like that frame of reference. So I'm going to stick with that frame of reference, because that frame of reference works for me. It's gotten me a mighty long way, as we say. That's right. It's gotten me a mighty long way, because I was trying everything else. Drugs wasn't doing it. Sex wasn't doing it. Pornography wasn't doing it. Right. Women in the hood wasn't doing it. My homeboys wasn't doing it. Robbing folks and getting caught wasn't doing it. Running around robbing folks at gunpoint wasn't doing it. Breaking into buildings and vandalizing stuff, that wasn't doing it. Wasn't none of this other stuff doing it. Oh, but when I tried Jesus, something changed. I'm looking at the time. I know I ain't gonna get through all of them. I got 7 of them. Let me mark them off. Told you about the prayer tower. Told you about salvation. Let me tell you one more. Which one should I tell you? And then I'll end with the third one. Tried to get 7. I tried to get 7, but I'm talking. I'm just, I get to going, man. I get to going. Oh, you know what? Let me tell you about this one. One that was more impactful. Not too long after moving out here to Southern California, my mother passed away. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate, if you've lost a parent or you've lost a loved one, especially if you've lost a parent or you've lost a loved one where it was sudden and it was in a way that you couldn't do anything about it. You weren't there, like bedside or, trying to get, medical assistant. Like you just had no influence on the matter. It just comes out of left field, like a phone call, which it did. It just came out of a phone call. Boom. My sister calls me. Mom's dead. Just boom. Just like that. Right. Woke me out of my sleep. Right. Just paralyzed me. It's about 3 or 4 years after we moved here to California. right? And that was another one that I was going to share about how we prayed and moved to California, but maybe I'll share that one next week. Maybe I'll pick up with a part 2 of part 1. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, got here to Southern California after fasting and prayer. Got here to Southern California a couple years after getting out here. My mother, who continued to live in Ohio, right? She passes away. How she died is still a mystery. Okay. We still don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know if someone in my family knows. I don't know if people around me know, or someone who is connected knows. I don't know. I wasn't let in, so I don't know, right? But she passed away, went back to Ohio for the funeral. She passed away. And when my mother passed away, I felt like God let me down. I don't know if you've ever been in that position where you feel like, man, God, you let me down, man. I was praying for my mother. I was praying that, I would see her again. I was praying, heck, for her to even come out here to visit, right? Because when you move from Ohio, like a small Midwest, city, you come out here to, Tinseltown, Hollywood, and this big California. I mean, we were experiencing things that we had never experienced before, looking at the oceans, the mountains. My God, I mean, the streets seemed bigger and wider. I mean, it was just a whole new world, right? And man, I wanted her to experience that as well. And that was one of my prayers, man, for her to come out and visit, for her to even at some point even move out here. But the point was that I prayed, and I was trusting God to show up for me in a certain way. And when she passed away, as I returned to California after her funeral, I felt like, man, dude, you let me down. Like, what's up, God? Are you real? Are you, because you be knowing what you saying ain't on point, but you just go there because you in your feelings. So I was just on some doubting God stuff. I was on some hating church stuff. I was on some don't tell me about nothing about faith stuff. I was bitter. I was upset. I was confused. I was angry. I was hurt. I was confused. Like, man, my faith, like, dude, can I even trust God? I mean, dude, what's up? Right? I was religious, right? I was on that back then. My framework was, do everything correct. As a good little Christian, I was going to walk this straight line. I was going to do all these things correctly. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself to walk a straight line and, all these other things. And so I was doing everything that God told me to do, but he didn't show up for me when I wanted him to show up for me. And so I was really angry, really bitter, man. And I would go to church late so that I wouldn't have to talk to nobody. I would sit in the back. And then, before church ended, boom, I'm hitting the parking lot because I didn't want to talk to nobody. I don't know if you've ever rolled with church like that before, right? Go late, leave early. You'll just go because your wife and your kids want to go, and you'll just kind of go, but I ain't really feeling it like that. So, guys, there came this opportunity during this season of doubting. During that season, I went back to pornography. During that season, I went back to magazines, and just drinking a little bit on the side, and just I was just trying to medicate. I was just trying to find refuge in anything but God. Right? I was trying to do it my way. I was angry with him, so I was like, okay, so you ain't gonna do with what I pray for you to do, then I'm gonna just do me. Then I'm gonna go back to the porn. I'm gonna go back to the this. I'm gonna go back to sipping on liquor a little bit. I'm gonna just do me, man, because you ain't showing up for me like that, right? And my pastor, again, shout out to Pastor Kerwin. There was some conference at a church in Boston, where our church, Pasadena Church, is connected to a church out in Boston called Jubilee. And I forgot what was the conference or what the situation was, but he felt it was a good opportunity to for me to go out there for whatever reason, just to maybe pull away from things, to just get a breather, whatever it may be. So we go out to Boston, and nothing miraculous happens. But now they hold early morning prayer. We call it EMP. And one of the mornings during the time they were in Boston, they have EMP. My pastor and I, we get up. We like, yo, man, we're going to go to EMP. So we go to EMP. And remember, guys, I told you everything that it has been powerful in my life, everything that changed in my life, like on some real, it's been the result of prayer. It's been the result of prayer. I told you I had 7 powerful paradigm shifts, life-changing moments, transformation because of prayer. So early morning prayer, EMP, we in there, we getting it in, we praying. I'm not expecting much. I'm just going through the motion. I'm on the front row, face planted in the chair. I'm about a foot away from the sanctuary, the front stage of the church. And I'm praying, I'm crying, angry with God, I don't even want to be here, God. Why am I even here? Blah, 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 blah. And I felt in my heart that morning, it was like, boom, he grabbed me. And what he said to me was, your mother was my daughter before she was your mother. That's what he said. I remember, if there's ever been those audible moments where you can hear the voice of God, he said, son, your mother was my daughter before she was your mother. And through that conversation, he didn't do it like maliciously, like, man, suck it up, man, get over yourself. She was my daughter. No. It was this loving, graceful, compassionate, understanding embrace of, listen, she was mine too. Your heart broke, my heart broke. You're weeping, I weep. You're at a loss, I'm at a loss. What God was saying was, death is a part of this ebb and flow of life. It's something greater. It's a mystery that we can't really explain. But death is not a I let you down occasion. Death is not a I didn't show up for you moment. Death isn't I'm all powerful God and I'm just going to let your loved one die moment. That's not the case. Death is a part of life. Death is a part of life. It's not separated. It's not that death is the end of life. Death is a part of the flow of life. And he just began to minister to me, man. He just began to work on my heart, man. He just began to comfort me, and something in me broke. I don't know if you've ever lost a mother, if you've ever lost a father, if you've ever lost someone that mattered to you. Something within me, it broke. And I began to weep and cry and just break down. And yeah, I didn't get over it like that immediately, but it opened space. It opened space in my life to accept God again, to understand something that I didn't understand before, to grow in a way that I had never grown before. It introduced a moment to cultivate a level or a depth within our relationship that I had never known before. And death still hurts. It still disturbs you. It's still not cool like that. But there's something about knowing that God is in it, that God is with, that he's not the great and mighty God standing off on his high heel and you peasants, you just deal with all the trouble of life. No, he comes down. Tomorrow we're going to be celebrating the fact that he came in the flesh and stretched out for you and I. He met us where we were. He walked with us. Right? He walked with us. And so in that moment, it was just like, man, God is with, God understands. And from there, I listened, I grew, I developed, I matured, I got through it, I got past it. He carried me through it, guys. And so again, that's my third Whew, that's my third one, man. I had four more, right? You can see the little bullets. I have four more, and we'll get to them. We'll get to them. Maybe next week I'll do a part two of the framework of faith and share the rest of them, because this is my favorite part. I can already tell you, the framework of faith is already going to be my favorite part of this series. Just talking about my God. Yeah, man. If it ain't, it's listen, framework of faith, man. Everything else is BS. Jesus, Jesus, everything else is BS. Guys, I'm at my time. I started off. So see, these are one of those God moments, because I just feel like someone needed to hear what I shared. What I will do is next week, I'm going to go back to these. I started off with these and I went down a path that I did not expect to go down. It's all good. I'm flowing. Sometimes conversations do that. Sometimes conversations, you'll meet a friend. Hey man, let's talk about business. We'll get together and something more important had to be said. So I'm cool with it. But there is something that I wanted to connect with this. I have a story that I wanted to share with you guys about VR and how it ties into this framework. So that's what we'll do. Next week on the broadcast, I will get back. I'm going to take note. I'm going to get back to my VR. We're going to start off with the VR story. I'm going to get back to this, finish up with the framework of faith, share some other things that I didn't get to today, and then wrap up that. So it'll be a part 2 of part 1, if that makes sense. So it'll be a part 2 of part 1. But guys, before I let you go, let me again remind you of the overall theme of this series for the month of April, guys. No reality. No reality. There is only reference. Your reference, your frame of reference, aka your framework. And we are addressing this month, all month long, every broadcast, we are going to be discussing what is framework, right? What is framework? How is it developed? How is it created? Why is it so important to preventing or producing what's possible in your life? And how do you change it? How do you change it? Well, I hope that through my stories today, somewhere woven within those stories, somewhere woven within what I shared, starts to give you some information on how to reframe things. But next week, guys, I'm gonna make sure that I take special note, and I make and to make sure that I give you some real concrete, tangible how-to, some real concrete next steps, some real call to actions around how you can begin to consciously reframe things, right? Reframe things, guys, because with my framework of faith, my framework from who I was to who I am today, that was being reframed. I just wasn't aware of it, right? So now today I can look back and it's like, oh, he was reframing me, right? He was expanding my borders. He was growing my awareness. He was increasing my awareness, right? Of what was around me, of what's within me, right? Of what's available to me. And again, guys, the heart of my message overall is to help revive your hope for what's possible. And I just believe that there are those of us where there are some things that are extremely possible. They're absolutely possible for you, for your life. But you don't believe that they are because of your present framework. And I want to just come alongside. I want to assist. I want to help. I want to nurture. I want to walk you through understanding, right? Understanding your framework, understanding how it's created, then how to begin to change it, right? And so we're going to just take this whole month and break it down. So thank you guys, man. If you have been rocking with me for this entire time, I just want to thank you so much for rocking with me this morning. We are beyond our time, but as I always say, guys, your presence is the greatest present that you guys could ever give me. I want to just thank you so much again, because time is so precious. You do not get it back. And I want to give my final shout outs before Well, my initial shout outs. I ain't gave no shout outs today. But I'm going to give my initial shout outs today before I get up out of here. Angeline, thank you so much, live from New York. Thank you so much for rocking with me this morning. I totally appreciate you, my sister. David is in the building. Or was in the building. I'm not sure if you're still on, but thank you so much, my brother, for rocking with me this morning. Angeline says, wow, that is deep. Whatever it was, praise God. I pray that you got it, that you're holding on to it, and that it is continuing to encourage you. My man, Chaz Jackson, G&G, gift in a gift, my brother from another mother. What's going on with your boy? Thank you so much for rocking with me this morning, my man. Angeline says, love April. Yes, I love me some April. Absolutely. Velda is on YouTube, and Velda says, if you follow Think and Grow Rich, it tells you to call on God as your higher source. That's right. That's right. That's right. Higher source. Call on God. It's Jesus. Everything else is BS. That's in my framework. You ain't got to subscribe to it. That's just my framework. And all I can do is share with you my framework. Lowana, what's going on with you? She says, thank you for your transparency. I have to. A word came to me years ago. He says, grow in your transparency, grow in sharing. And so I am going to make that, a more and more a part of these broadcasts, to share more and more on purpose, consciously, to weave in those stories and to be that much more transparent, because that's what connects us. Success, achievements, they cool. They are what they are. But we all suffer pain. We all suffer trials and tribulations. We are all going through something. And if we can connect at that level and then help to bring one another up, now we're winning, man. Now we're winning. It ain't just me. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing so great. Yada, 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 yada. Come on up here. Come on up here. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus didn't remain high, right? He came in the flesh, right? So if we're gonna be followers, disciples, examples, right, of Jesus, if we're gonna be the only Jesus people get to see, then we're gonna have to model what he did. Jesus, tomorrow we're gonna celebrate him. Listen, Jesus didn't say, I'm gonna sit up high and y'all just come on up here. Come on, get your butts on up here. Jesus said, oh, y'all down there, y'all low. I'm coming to where you at, baby. And that's on the physical level, spiritual level, emotional level, psychological level. Jesus came low, met us at the dirt, baby. He met us at the dirt. You know the dirt. Them dirty thoughts, them dirty actions, them dirty words. He met us right there. You open up that Bible, you can find example after example after example of Jesus meeting us at the dirt, at our dirty, right? The dirty ain't just for the South. We all got some dirty. And he met us, man. He met us at the dirty. He met me in the jail. That was at my dirty, man. He met us. He met me in Boston. The stuff I was doing because I was mad at him and mad at the church. He met me at the dirty. You know what I'm saying? So he did not stay high and say, come up. He says, oh, you're low. Here I come. And I can rock with a God like that. I can rock with a Jesus like that. So give me him, man. Everything else, get that crap out of here, man. Anyway, start a whole nother broadcast. My man, P.I., what's going on with you, brother? Thank you so much for rocking with me. Heidi is in the building. Amen. Thank you so much, Heidi, for rocking with me this morning. Raymond, what's going on? Thank God for his saving grace. Yes, absolutely, my brother. Woo-hoo-hoo. If it had not been for him. Yes. Angeline says, thank you, brother. You rock. No, sister, you rock. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And last one, Angeline says, love it, Velda. God is the higher power. Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, that is it, man. Listen, I appreciate you guys so much for rocking with me today. It's been a long one. I know. And it took me a little time to build up. I know. But again, I want to have conversations, and I am intentional about just having conversations. So I'm just going to get better and better. Every week, I'm going to just get better and better at having conversations, just speaking and rolling with and being present and being with as much as I can. And listen, guys, if you guys have thoughts, ideas, comments, suggestions on how to make this that much more connective, right? I don't know if that's even a word, but I want to connect. I don't want to just woof at you and present at you and just preach at you. I want to talk with you. I want to talk with you. So if you guys, you guys know how to DM, right? DM me any suggestions, thoughts, tweaks, anything, that you say, hey man, you can make it better by doing this. Hey man, you can improve on this. Hey man, it'll be a doper show if you do this. I'm open to all of that. So hit a brother up, let me know, because I want to grow. And you have a framework that I don't have. So maybe there's things in your framework that can help improve mine as I bring my framework to the live, broadcast to help other people improve upon their framework. So let's get that win-win jumping off. DM me, let me know how we can make this thing an even better experience. All right. All right, man. Travell, C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? This has been the I Am the Possible universe, specifically the I Am the Possible broadcast. Later on today, I will be dropping and I will be promoting the I Am the Possible podcast experience, baby. Got the podcast jumping off today. Same topic, but different content. So if you are a podcast listener and you love podcasts, you want to listen to it on podcast, same topic as this, but just more information, different information. So that's going to be available to you as well. As always, guys, I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I'm believing in you guys. And until next time, peace.